A Russian Jew was finally allowed to emigrate to Israel. Now at Moscow airport, customs found a statue of Lenin, the Russian revolutionary, in his baggage and asked, "What is this?" The man replied, "What is this? Wrong question, comrade. You should have asked, who is he?" This is Comrade Lenin. He laid the foundations of socialism and created the future and prosperity of the Russian people. I am taking it with me as a memory of our dear hero. The Russian customs officer let him go without further inspection. At Tel Aviv airport, that's in Israel, the Israeli customs officer also asked our friend, "What is this?" He replied, "What is this? Wrong question, sir. You should be asking, who is this? This is Lenin, the rascal who caused me, a Jew, to leave Russia. I take this statue with me so I can curse him every day." The Israeli customs officer said, "I apologize, sir. You are cleared to go." Settling into his new house, he put the statue on a table. Now, to celebrate his immigration, he invited his friends and relatives to dinner. One of his friends asked, "Who is this?" He replied, "My dear friend, who is this is a wrong question. You should have asked, what is this? This is 10 kilograms of solid gold that I managed to bring with me without paying any customs duty and tax." Friends, this anecdote describes tact and diplomacy at its best. How many times have you opened your mouth to say something and the wrong thing has come out? How often have you said something and instantly wished you could take it back? Once it is out, it's out. The process of interpersonal communication is irreversible, and it can take a mere fraction of a second to let something slip. You can wish you hadn't said something, and you can apologize for something you regret you said, but you can't take it back. Nobody is born with social skills. Seriously, nobody. Step back and watch the people around you. Some people always say the wrong things at the wrong time, in the wrong way, while there are other people who seem like they always know just what to say and can interact with other people seamlessly. Well, the difference lies in using tact and diplomacy. Isaac Newton, the physicist and mathematician who developed the principles of modern physics, puts it nicely. Tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy. While David Frost, a British journalist, comedian and writer, describes diplomacy as the art of letting somebody else have your own way. Diplomacy and tactfulness go together because they deal with making the best outcome for all involved parties without hurting anyone's feelings. Without tact and diplomacy, we lose work, we lose relationships, we lose recognition, we lose respect, and we also lose money. Tact is a skill under the umbrella of diplomacy. Tact is knowing what to say and what not to say. Tact is knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Tact is being able to tell a hurtful truth in a way that respects and honors the person listening so that they have an opportunity to hear your message. As Winston Churchill, Britain's ex-Prime Minister, said, tact is the ability to tell someone to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the trip. Tact and diplomacy can be very powerful tools, not just at work, but in our day-to-day life as well. Using tact and diplomacy appropriately can lead to improved relationships with other people and are a way to build and develop mutual respect, which in turn can lead to more successful outcomes and less difficult or stressful communication. The cornerstone of good leadership is the ability to communicate effectively with tact and diplomacy. When it comes to leadership, diplomacy refers to the way in which tact is used in order to ensure that policies, negotiations, interests, conflicts, and benefits are all agreed on by everyone, and more importantly, that all of the individuals involved are happy with the outcomes that are agreed to. One of the greatest statesmen in modern history could arguably be Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Great Britain during the World War II. To a war-torn England, he brought a formidable example of tenacity and resolve combined with the ability to motivate and promote confidence. Taking a page out from history, on May 10, 1940, the day Germany launched its surprise invasion of Holland and Belgium, King George VI asked Churchill to be the Prime Minister. Churchill set the tone of leadership in his first report to the House of Commons with these stirring words: "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat." It was only the first of his inspiring wartime speeches which knit the country together and inspired people around the world. History reminds us favorably of Churchill's leadership and inspirational speeches to the English and the Allies, illustrating the impact of the right words spoken at critical times. Of course, even Churchill had his human side. When his tact failed him, once he had a conversation with a woman who disliked him as much as he did her. When she felt compelled to tell him, "Mr. Churchill, if I were your wife, I would poison your coffee," he replied, "Madam, if you were my wife, I would drink it." With his characteristic wit, he also was fully aware of his potential for speaking imprudently. And he said, "In the course of my life, I have often had to eat my words, and I must confess that I have always found it a wholesome diet." From his blood, sweat and tears speech in the House of Commons to his involvement in the lives of everyday British, Churchill strived to use just the right words for the proper circumstance and to support them with appropriate action. He tried to couple his words and actions, saying and doing the right things at the right time. His endeavor can be summarized by two keywords: diplomacy and tact. A hallmark of an effective leader is that they can be respectful towards people while being tough on issues. Ron Price, an internationally recognized business advisor, executive coach, speaker, and an author, says that it is a mature balance between results and relationships. It's about the ability to avoid compromising one for the other. Friends, diplomacy and tact don't just magically appear. They aren't inherent skills. Anyone can develop them. And these skills need to be cultivated and actively deployed when needed. You just need to be aware that there's work to be done and then do the work. They aren't skills that you can learn well from a book, because reading a book doesn't provide you with a charged atmosphere or conflict where diplomacy and tact matter most. The only real way to develop these skills is to practice and more practice. The more you can be tactful and diplomatic, the easier it gets. However, we need to realize that we are diplomats or ambassadors in training. Since we are all human, we might be wise therefore to remember that a few golden rules as we strive to grow in diplomacy and tactfulness. Firstly, diplomacy is thinking twice before saying nothing. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. There may be times when the best thing to do is to keep your mouth shut. Secondly, listen to what other people are saying. Don't just hear it. Practice active listening. Active listening can be practiced by giving people your undivided attention when they are speaking without interrupting them. Thirdly, ask yourself, does this need to be said? How can I say this respectfully? The most crucial part of tact is learning when not to speak. So before you say anything, pause. Take a little time to consider whether or not the words you are about to say accurately reflect the situation, and then speak. They say a few seconds of consideration of your words before speaking can save you hours of emotional labor and conflict. Fourth, be mindful of your body language. Through your posture, your facial expressions and gestures, you may unconsciously communicate something you don't intend to say. Therefore, be aware of and try to avoid non-verbal interaction that signal impatience, hostility, close-mindedness, or any other negative feeling. Finally, focus on kindness over niceness. Be kind, but you don't necessarily need to be nice. To be nice is to be someone who is agreeable, gentle, and generally pleasant, while to be kind is to act in a way that is beneficial to yourself and other people. Frankly, being kind and being nice don't often go hand in hand. Sometimes you have to tell people things that they don't want to hear, or get them to see those things for themselves. Friends, in closing, you can have your say and speak your mind. However, try to be tactful in your communication. Remember, it's not what you say, but how you say it.